Hi, this is Rahman, and I wanted to talk a little bit about a topic that has come up recently. Um, it's the psychology of guilt and the the answer, which is grace. Um, Basically, we have a lot of thoughts that can drain our energy, and guilt is one of them. The past is something that we all have, and that can come up in our memory at any time. However, the way that we respond to that is very important for our present. Certain emotions can drain you, such as guilt. Um, Regarding the future, overly desiring things can drain you. Being aware of what thoughts feed you and which ones detract from your well-being is really important. So, um, the idea that we are constantly faced with the opportunity to be surrounded by love and grace from the universe, but that we ourselves are in the way of that sometimes, is something that I want to talk about, and I will share with you the famous biblical story of the prodigal son in order to remind you of the point that we are never without the universe's love unless we ourselves close that door. So I will do my best to retell the story and to kind of highlight how that applies to all of us in this day and age. So according to what Jesus said, I will paraphrase. There was someone, a man who had two sons, and one of the sons, the older one, was very dutiful and helpful, and the younger son, however, wanted to explore the world. So he asked for his share of his inheritance, and he went off. Um, he went to the cities or the towns and started living a life that was not kind of good energy for him. It was, I guess, depraved or corrupted in what ways were available at those times. So he was squandering the money and living a pretty kind of difficult life, but he was enjoying himself until he ran out of money, and the place that he was in had a famine, and he ended up having to indenture himself as a servant to a farm, and he was feeding the pigs, and he was in such a lowly state that he was even so hungry that he wished he could eat the slop that was being given to the pigs. So at this point he said, look at my state, at least if I go back to my father's house, I can be a servant for him, and then, I'll be in a better state. They have extra food, even the servants there are in a better state. So he set off on his journey home, and when the father saw him from quite far away, the father got so happy, and he ordered a big, dinner to be made, and he started running to meet the son and embraced him and clothed him in beautiful robes, put a ring on his finger and shoes on his feet, and asked people to come attend and celebrate his return. So now the older son, who was working as always and helping the family, felt a little bit kind of upset about this, a little jealous, saying, I've been here this whole time and you never threw a party for me like this. But what the father said was, everything I have is yours. It's always been yours. But this brother of yours was as if dead. He was lost completely, and he's come back. So really, we should celebrate. And the point of this story is that all of us, whether we're enduringly in the kingdom and having the resources around us, or whether we've gone off and experimented with the world and decided we'd rather come back to the divine love and grace, all of us have the opportunity at any moment to turn towards that heavenly love, that divine kind of father figure, mother figure, compassion, really, and grace. Grace is something that is available to all people at all times, and to really accept that and to open our hearts, to clear our minds of the things that are blocking us from receiving that, like self-doubt and judgment and guilt, which weaken us, in fact, and don't let us to move forward as well. into the future as we could, as a human being who's actually wrapped in divine love could move forward. We have to really examine our thought patterns and remember the stories, and be willing to accept that love as we turn our faces back to the divine.